Yo YouTube, what is going on? It's been a minute since I uploaded here, but I have been super busy, so here is some updates I got for you. I recently took and passed my eLearn Security Penetration Testing Student for the EJBT course. It was fun. It was good to see that I did have those skills, but I really don't think it was worth it. If you've purchased and went through TCM's course for practical ethical hacking, I think that teaches you the foundations and you do not need to do the EJBT course. You can probably just jump right into the eLearn Penetration Testing Professional or the OSCP with some supplemental practice on things like TryHackMe or Hack the Box. So I'm also in the process of closing on a house, and that has kept me busy, and work has kept me busy. So that is why the uploads are a little sporadic. I'm going to try to knock out 2 or 3 uploads this week and schedule them so I don't have a long period where I'm not uploading in between. So yeah, let's get right into the video. Today's video will be about local file inclusion, since if you cannot already tell, from LFI standing right in front of you in the window. So first off, we have to do, what is LFI? LFI is a type of vulnerability commonly found in PHP-based websites and is used to affect some web applications. This issue generally occurs when the application is trying to get some information from a server where the inputs are getting a particular file. So we have some issues with that. So like TryHackMe says in this room, a lot of the time local file inclusion can lead to accessing without proper permissions important and classified data, where an attacker can use LFI to read files such as your system. An attacker can use LFI to read files from your system, which can give away sensitive information such as passwords and SSH keys, which we will see in this box. Enumerated data can further be used to compromise the system. So let's get into it. Let's spin up our machine. First things first. Come in here and deploy. Alright, so once that's deployed, you'll have your LFI walkthrough, your IP address, and the time. So let's head on over to the site, 10.10.221.195. Alright, so as you can see, we are on the website. It is a shop. We have some art. We have product reviews. You can leave a review. So let's see what the challenge wants us to do. Getting user access via LFI. To test for LFI, we need to find a parameter on any URL that looks like an input field. So in this example, you can see file equals robots.txt. So generally, whenever you see an equal sign, that means it is pulling from a file. So it could be module equals, it could be page equals. So let's take a look at the website and see if there's any parameters that we can pass this through. Look at the about page. As you can see, the about page already has page equals about.html. You can see page equals services.html, page equals contact.html. So I want to say that our variable that we're going to be working with here, or parameter rather, is going to be page. So let's look around the website. What is the name of the parameter we find? Page. Yep. So once we find the vulnerable parameter, we can try to include the password file on the Linux system, i.e. /etc password, right? So let's try to do that. The only issue with this is that you need to know the exact directory and location of where you are. So I would load up burp if you want to do it in burp, just to see the packets go back and forth. But I'm just going to run inspect element, just because I don't feel like firing up burp right now. So we're going to do equals // so that's your CD, like you're changing directories, and then you can just do etc password. And if it's vulnerable to LFI, it will show up. Look at that. So there is your password file, and we can go through here and look for a user, which looks like it's going to be Falcon. There's a Falcon user in this box, home/Falcon. So that's their home directory. Let's head over to LFI. Yep. So once you include etc password, you should see entries something like this. Yep, that's what we saw. If you need to understand that more in depth, there is an article there. This file can give information about the system, like the name of all existing users on the system. What is the name of the user on the system? There's Falcon. So once you find the name of the user, it's important to see if you can include anything common and important in that user's directory. This could be anything like their bash rc, etc. We're going to try to look for their SSH key. So we're just going to add in home, Falcon, .ssh, because that's the SSH folder, and then we're going to look for their SSH key as IDRSA. And what do you know? Here it is, right here. So what you're going to want to do is copy that out. Definitely want to save that. copy that out and save it as a file on your desktop. So name of the file which can give you access to Falcon's account on the system, ID_RSA. So let's try to get the user flag. Let's head on out to our command line. Am I even still connected? I guess I am still connected to the network. I don't have a VPN up, but the site loaded. It's weird. All right. So anyway, so what you want to do is you want to copy out the ID RSA, and you want to put it into a file. So you want to do open new document, empty file, name it ID RSA, and you want to paste that key in there. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure, go to desktop. You want to chmod plus, you want to chmod 400 it to make it private, or it won't work. Mine's already done, so I'm not going to do that here. So you're going to do ssh-i, and then you're going to go ID_RSA, and then you're going to do Falcon, which is the user, at the IP address 10.10.221.195 or whatever your IP address is. You do not want the HTTP in there, so we take that out, and you're just going to go bam. So this says invalid format, so I'm not sure if I have done this right, but hit yes. And it actually lets us in without a password. So because we have Falcon's SSH key, so you don't need the password. So now we are users, so let's just ls, see where we are. And there's user.txt right there, so that's pretty simple. Cat user.txt, and we can copy that out, put that in there. All right. So now that we have the user flag, escalating your privileges to root. So I highly recommend reading this blog post here if you have never done Linux PrivEsc before, or just go out and buy TCM's course on Udemy for Linux privilege escalation. It'll cover a lot of this stuff. There's definitely a lot of different methods of privilege escalation in Linux, and TCM has a course on it and also has a course on Windows. So I highly recommend going and buying those on Udemy. So what can Falcon run as root? There's a way we can check to see what user can run things, what a user can run as root. All you have to do is come in here and do sudo-l. So this will show you all of the commands that you can run as root. As you can see, we can run this bin journal control. So let's head back into the LFI room, and bin journal control is correct. And this is a site called GTFObins. So basically, this is a site that shows you all the binaries that can be exploited to escalate your privileges. So we can search journal control right there, and it looks like it can be used to break out of a restricted environment by spawning an interactive system shell. So you just run the journal control command and then run bin/sh. So you can do that to get a shell, but you can also do it to get a root shell as well. So we're going to run sudo journal control and then bin/sh, which is that binary that we can run as sudo without a password. So we're going to do sudo journal control, right? And then we're going to do slash, oops, not slash, my bad, you can't even see that. Let me move that up. You're going to do !bin/sh. And now you can do who am I? And you can see we are root. So generally the root, let's look for the root flag. Generally it's in the etc, it's in the root directory. So you just cd and then ls falcon cd.ls. There you go. You could have alternately done something like cd .. to bring you back all the way. But now we are in here, and we can just cd to root. And let's ls, and there's the root.txt, cat root.txt. Oh, I tried to use autocomplete there, it didn't work. Okay, cat root.txt, and there's the root flag. So that's the basics of LFI. I'm definitely going to do this one next, the LFI inclusion challenge, and we're going to run up a video on that as well. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, leave me a comment. If there's something you didn't understand, I'm going to have a link to my Discord channel. Pop in there, ask me questions in there. It's a lot easier to handle than the YouTube comment section, because then I have to try to troubleshoot, recreate the steps you did. So just hit me up on Discord. We'll talk through it. So yeah, there you go. That is LFI for beginners, and going through escalating some privileges in Linux. And I'll see you guys in the next video.